Welcome back. Previously we were discussing about the application of combination concept with regard to probability. Let us discuss some of the definition with regard to probability, in which we have completed classical definition. Let us go through the next two definitions. Before we go into the next second definition, let us discuss about the concept of frequency ratio, and on the basis of that there is a law, otherwise known as law of statistical regularity. The tendency of frequency ratio to stabilize when the number of repetition of the random experiment is increased. This phenomenon is known as statistical regularity, or otherwise known as law of statistical regularity. With an example, you will get a clear picture. We know that if you toss a coin, you have the probability of getting a head or a tail, but we are not sure about that. We have the concept that you have the probability of getting a head 50% chance, or the 50% chance for the tail. We are not sure about that, whether you get a tail or a head. But as for the statistical regularity concept, if you repeat a random experiment an indefinite number of times, for example, you were tossing a coin one time, the chance of getting a head or tail is 50% chance. If you are repeating the same experiment for 1000 times or 5000 times or 10,000 times, you will get a clear picture that the chance of occurrence of a particular sign will be static, otherwise known as the frequency ratio to be stable or stabilized. That concept is known as law of statistical regularity. So when the event which we are under study, otherwise known as f, or in simple terms it is known as frequency, if the f or the frequency happens n number of times, and the relation between the f and n, or f by n, is called frequency ratio or relative frequency of the particular event. And on the basis of that, if you are repeating the same event again and again, you will get a static frequency, otherwise known as you will get a clear picture about which event will happen or occur. There will be a stability regarding the occurrence of an event. That is known as law of statistical regularity. Next one, relative frequency definition of probability, or empirical probability, or statistical probability, or posteriori probability. So what is the meaning of this definition? It's very simple. If we repeat a random experiment a great number of times under essentially the same conditions, the limit of the ratio of the number of times that an event happens to the total number of trials, as the number of trials increases indefinitely, is called probability of the happening of the event. The same concept which we have discussed in case of a statistical regularity. If you are repeating a random experiment a large number of times or n number of times, the chance of occurrence of a particular event can be known in advance. And under relative frequency definition of probability, there are some properties. Remember those properties. There are three main properties with regard to properties of probability under relative frequency distribution concept. First one, the probability is positive or less than or equal to 1. It will be always like that, because the value of probability always lies between 0 and 1. 0 means the occurrence, then there is no chance of occurrence of an event. 1 means there is chance for occurrence of an event. So your value for probability for certain event will always lie between 0 and 1. That is the first property with regard to probability. Next one, the probability of a sure event is 1. As I have mentioned earlier, if you get the value 1, that means that event will surely happen. So let S be the sample space, therefore S is a sure event. That is, what S is represented in capital letter within brackets. Probability of S within bracket. S means sample space, that is a sure event. If it is 1, that sample space is a sure event. If probability of A is equal to 1, that means the probability of occurrence of that event A is a sure event. And finally, if A and B are mutually exclusive. Mutually exclusive means they do not coincide with each other. If one happens, the other will not happen. That is the concept. So it is always represented by P within brackets A union B equal to P of A plus P of B. Plus means or. Remember, in probability, plus sign is used whenever you represent an event. If you are using or in case of an event, occurrence of a certain event, one event or the other event. If you are using or for that particular sign, we will be using plus. It's just a trick. There is no rule regarding that. Just remember that. So let us discuss an example case, then you will get a clear picture with regard to probability. The following table gives the distribution of wages of 1,200 workers. Wages in class details are given. Wages in rupees, 100 to 120 rupees. And the number of workers who are earning that particular class of wages. So 100 to 120, it begins from 100 and ends with 240, and there are number of workers that comes under different class of wages. The question is, find the probability that a worker selected has wage under rupees 140 is there, above rupees 200 is there, between 140 and 200 is there. So you need to find the probability. First one, under rupees 140. See, under rupees 140 there are two classes, 100 to 120 and 120 to 140. So the probability of the workers to earn the rupees 140, that's a number under 140, is rupees 10 and 100. So what is the probability? So the probability of getting a wages of rupees less than 140 is 10 plus 100 divided by 1,200. Because the total number of workers is 1,200. Out of 1,200, 10 are earning 100 to 120 class and 100 are earning 120 to 140 class. So what is the probability that how many members or how many workers are there earning a wage that is less than rupees 140? So it is like this. Number of workers earning a wage less than 140 divided by total number of workers. So you have got the probability under rupees 140. Next one, above 200. See, above 200 there are two classes. $200 to 220 and 220 to 240. So you need to find the probability of workers who are earning wages above 200. See, there are only two classes, 200 and 220 and 220 to 240. So 200 to 220 workers earn 53 workers are there, and 220 above 220 there are 42 workers are there. So the probability that the workers earn a wage of rupees more than 200 is 53 plus 42 divided by 1,200. So this is how you have to find the probability whenever you have to include one or more events together. And finally, between 140 and 200. See, between 140 and 200, see, there are 500 between 140. So you need to start from here. 500 plus 320 plus 175. You are asked to find the probability between 140 and 200. So you have to include these three classes. 500 plus 320 plus 175 divided by 1,200, you will get the probability of wage earned in between 140 and 200 by the workers within that concerned factory or firm. So this is how you have to find the probability whenever you have to include more than one items in the numerator case. Let us discuss some of the other examples. Next one, axiomatic approach to probability. This is the third definition with regard to probability. This probability concept was introduced by a statistician named Kolmogorov. Axiomatic probability is just another way of describing the probability of an event. As the word itself says, in this approach, some axioms are predefined before assigning probability. This is done to quantize the event and hence to ease the calculation of occurrence or non-occurrence of the event. As per the axiomatic approach to probability, axioms means conditions. So on the basis of certain condition, what is the probability of occurrence of a certain event? Until previously we were discussing about the probability of occurrence of an event in which there was no other condition apart from properties with regard to probability. But under axiomatic approach, there are some axioms, otherwise known as conditions, only on the basis of those axioms, probability of a certain random experiment is identified. So let us discuss some of the main axioms or conditions with regard to axiomatic approach. Axiomatic probability conditions, there are three conditions. Let S be the sample space for any random experiment. I hope you all know what is meant by sample space. And let P be the probability of the occurrence of an event. Noting the characteristics of P, it should be a real valued function whose domain will be a power set of S. And the range will lie in between 0 and 1. Probability value will always lie between 0 and 1. This probability P will satisfy the following probability axiom. So let P be the probability of certain event, S be the sample space, and the values will lie between 0 and 1. So first probability or first axiomatic concept is, for any event let it be A. We are under study, always use the letter A. There is no rule regarding you have to use A, you can use any letters, but whatever given in the question, follow that. The probability of A will be greater than or equal to 0. We have learned that because the value will always lie between 0 and 1. That is, for any event A, the probability of A is greater or equal to 0. We have learned the same property previously. Whatever the event you are under study, it will always be greater than or equal to A, and it will be less than or equal to 1. That was the concept. So first rule is this one, or first axiom is this one. Second one, when S is the sample space, which we have discussed previously, S is the sample space of an experiment, that is the set of all possible outcomes. It can be represented as P within bracket S, S means sample space, equal to 1. That means if you are tossing a coin, we know that one of the sample space will occur. There are only two sample space, head or tail. We know that one will occur. So the probability of that sample event or sample space is 1 because it will occur. Any of that event will occur. So the probability of the sample space is always represented by 1. That is the probability of any outcome happening in 100% accurate. It will happen. If you toss a coin, you are sure head or tail will happen. We don't know which one will happen, but one event will surely happen. So it is represented by P equal to 1. And the last axiom or condition, if A and B are mutually exclusive outcomes, P of A union B is represented by P of A plus B. Remember, in mutually exclusive, the equation is like this. But whenever you are studying an event, when two events are studying at the same time, the probability equation will have a slight difference with regard to this one. We will discuss that part at that time. Anyway, here U stands for union. We can read this by saying if A and B are mutually exclusive outcomes, the probability of either A or B, see A or, that is a sign here, plus represents A or B. Either event A can happen, either event B can happen. Happening is the probability of A happening plus the probability of B happening. That is the concept for representing whenever A and B are mutually exclusive cases. Next one, addition and multiplication probability. It is an important rule with regard to the practical application in case of probability. Addition and multiplication of probability, those are two different theories. One is addition rule of probability. As the name suggests, it includes addition. The addition rule of probability describes two formulas. One for the probability for either of two mutually exclusive events happening, and the other for the probability of non-mutually exclusive events happening. So remember, addition rule is applicable in case of mutually exclusive events. Under this, there are two situations. One is mutually exclusive, other is non-mutually exclusive. Remember that. That is why in most of the equation with regard to mutually exclusive, you can see that we are using the sign plus, because it is one of the rule with regard to probability. We will discuss that part now. Addition rule of probability usually deals with mutually or non-mutually exclusive events. Whenever you come across a term mutually exclusive events or a non-mutually exclusive events, that means it is related with addition rule of probability. So the first formula is just the sum of the probabilities of two events, that is, events do not happen together. The second formula is the sum of the probability of two events minus the probability that both will occur at the same time. That is just the explanation of the equations. We will discuss in detail the equations. So, the probability of two mutually exclusive events is denoted by, from until now we were using the signs letters A and B. For time being, we are using Y and Z or X or Y, whatever it is for the change. Let probability of two events, when Y union Z is represented by mutually exclusive events. So whenever you come across a mutually exclusive event, it is represented by P of first event plus P of second event. See, the meaning of this union means or. Y union Z means either the events of Y or either the events of Z. Any of the events within these two will occur. Any of the one will occur. That is the meaning of the sign union. So union in English letter meaning or. So probability of the happening of Y or Z is represented by P of Y plus P of Z. That is the equation with regard to mutually exclusive events. Next one, the probability with regard to non-mutually exclusive. Don't think that it is non-mutually exclusive, so it doesn't come under the addition rule. Whenever you come across a mutually exclusive or a non-mutually exclusive case, it is the category that comes under the addition rule of probability. So, how we are going to deal with a non-mutually exclusive event? I hope we have discussed this area somewhere in the previous sessions in a vague way. So it is written like this: when probability of two events are given, either Y or Z, we don't know whether it is a mutually exclusive. In the question, it may be given mutually or non-mutually. If it is mutually, you have to use this one. If it is a non-mutually exclusive situation, you have to use this equation. It is very easy. You need to add the both events first. After that, you need to deduct the probability of first event intersection second event. I hope you have discussed the same with an example in the previous sessions. Just remember, we are not going further into that because I don't want to make you get confused with the idea. The thing is, if you are dealing with a mutually exclusive events, and remember, kindly understand the concept of mutually exclusive. In the question, they may specify whether it is mutually or non-mutually. Sometimes they may not specify. It is up to your logical and common sense to identify what is meant by mutually exclusive and what is meant by non-mutually exclusive. So, in case of mutually exclusive, the equation is like this. In case of non-mutually exclusive, the equation is P of Y plus P of Z minus probability of Y intersection Z. The concept is, if you are adding together these two events, in some situation, in some means in almost all situations, if you are adding two events that are almost associated to each other, you are adding some values again and again. So in order to remove that, you have to deduct the intersection concept or intersection values from the addition part. Then only you will get the actual probability with regard to non-mutually exclusive event. I hope I have discussed this area in previous sessions. Just go through it. The meaning of the same equation is here. It is given P of y or z, whether y or z will happen if it is a non-mutually exclusive. P of y plus P of z minus P of y and z, and is represented by this one, intersection. Intersection means both the events will happen. That is the concept. So just go through all these areas, understand the concept and theoretical aspects we have discussed, and try to familiarize these equations. We will discuss about further cases in the next one, in which we will be discussing in detail the practical application with these equations.